Hello and welcome. I'm Tafra Gramu. The burning of mosques and stores owned by Muslims in Mota town a few days ago has triggered quite a reaction in terms of demonstrations in several towns across the country. What happened and why are acts of this sort cropping up every time and again from across the religious divide in this country? My guest today, Sheikh Salah Wazir, a cleric, is here to share his views. Sheikh Salahuddin Wazir, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Farah, for inviting me for many times to your show.
This time around, I start this conversation with a heavy heart. In Mota a few days ago, this tragic incident happened and a few mosques were burned down and stores owned by Muslims in that part of the country were looted, and so on and so forth. And that kind of triggered a massive reaction in terms of demonstrations in several cities and towns across the country, primarily in Oromia region, and in Diriyah and Harar and so on and so forth. You being one of the clerics who has been into this issue of peaceful coexistence, Islamic teaching and all that, what do you make of what happened in Mota of Gojam, in Mota town last week?
Thank you for addressing this very important issue. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, as-salatu was-salamu ala rasulillah, in the name of Allah, the creator of this universe, to all of us. It's really heartburning. And it's not only heartburning, it's really outrageous, the way it is exhibit itself. Prior to Mota, there is also background. There were two mosques were burned about a year or so ago in Gondar. No consequences happened or apprehended and brought to justice those who did the crimes. Then Mota came. The allegation was one of the church, there was some smoke, maybe the candle of the priest or God knows what.
We don't know. We don't know, but there is smoke coming out of...
Whatever it is, two wrong one will not make it right. So immediately the reaction from the mob of radical Christian, we call them terrorists, because the act they have done is nothing short of terrorist, deliberately coming unprovoked, burning 4 mosques, going after Muslim business, living in Christian business, torturing, burning a Muslim business, burning, looting. Over 375 business is being affected.
Who made that inventory?
Those who own the businesses. So prior to that, also they had all hardship placed on the Muslims, even they were not allowed to operate their businesses on Sunday. They endure those difficulties. They were patient enough. With all those difficulties come this attack, unprovoked attack. Not only the attack, those mobs are celebrating and chanting and dancing of burning Muslims' properties and mosques. This is outrageous. This is absolutely un-Ethiopian. We have no history of such in Ethiopia in modern history. Do we have similar in the past? Yes. Will there crimes have taken place in the past? Yes. Few examples, just for the record. There was our Jebjeb Mosque, or a shrine in Harar, that taken and become a Selassie church. There was our Sayyid Ali place, a shrine place, that become Mikhail Church in Harar. And the mosque in the heart of First Magala was taken by Menelik then church, it tended to church. People are remembering all those. The church that in Kulubi was a shrine for the Muslim by name Sheikh Jibril, converted to church. People enduring all those for years. Now, when this incident of Mota took place, people intend to reconnect of the past abuses and difficulties and say, what is going on here? Why we've been targeting?
So why do you think this happened? I mean, we'll come back to some of the what you call historical injustices that you just mentioned in some detail. But what do you think triggered this one?
Just going back for a minute, Mr. Tafarra, for the past. The Quranic verse says, وَلَا تَزِيرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى, meaning, through the crime of the grandfather, of the father in Islam, you will not hold accountable the son. We are not going to hold accountable today's generation for the past crimes of whatever that happened. Those people have done their past, gone. We should not hold them accountable, their children today. But what we are saying, though, the current generation Christian, the current generation Muslims, we should not go back to the old days of wounded and digging and start to fight over those past. So along those lines, what we say is what triggered this. There are radical Christian preachers are preaching and sort of fueling this hate preaching. Hate preaching is not preaching at all. It's preaching for their own political objective. There are some individuals who really sort of instigating all this fire.
I know that emotions are running high on both sides of the religious spectrum.
Right.
I mean, there are many Christians who come up and say, hey, there are venomous things spread by extremist Muslims too. I mean, this is a two-way traffic, is it not?
Always we say 2 wrong will not make it right. 3 wrong will not make it right. 1,000 wrong will not make it right. Hate speech of across the board, any kind, is unacceptable.
So do you see that coming from the side of Muslims too?
At this point, we don't see any from the Muslim side, to tell you the truth. You know why? There is no Muslims that are provoking the Christian. There is no Muslim in the masajid or loudspeaker or in the social media spreading the message against the Christian.
I mean, there's what the Orthodox Christians are claiming. What was it, about a few months back, that scores of Christians, Orthodox Christians, were killed in Bali and their churches torched and everything. So you come to this stage where we have a reaction from them too.
We clearly said it then, and we say it now, we say it all the time. Burning the church is unacceptable. Killing of any human being, including Muslim, non-Muslim, Christian, is unacceptable. We will not tolerate seeing any citizen being attacked by any form of group. Now, did the Christian themselves have their own problems vis-a-vis the Orthodox and the Oromo Orthodox? It is publicly known fact. So don't blame the Muslim for this. This is Christian issues between Orthodox Christian, who maybe happen to be Amhara, and then the Oromos.
That's what exactly yeah.
So those are their internal matter. If we say something, then they're going to accuse us, oh, you know what, the Muslims are behind to instigate this. It has nothing to do with the Muslims. This is their own internal problems. We have nothing to do with it.
But that's what they claim.
We have nothing to do with it, but they have to prove it. There is no Muslims that are involved into disputation or filing or firing or fueling between Oromo Orthodox and Amhara Orthodox, for that matter. We have nothing to do with it. So therefore, they have no justification whatsoever.
But they tend to be very specific. They say there are extremists who are doing this.
Well, which extremists? What are the name? What city? When? Who? Which group? We did not come up with any group that are saying we did this and they claim it, we did it. If so, there's a job of the government to go after them.
The same thing with the Mota thing. I mean, just a few days before whatever happened in the burning of the 4 mosques, there was a letter that was actually circulating in the social media, which written by one of the Islamic clerics in Mota town. A letter that he submitted to the regional to the local administration, saying some extremist elements from our side, that's from the Muslims, are trying to do something that's not necessarily. So that was a letter circulated.
So it is bizarre. You know why? All this justification is coming after the incident. If that was the case, if that was the case, why was it not turned to the national intelligence? Why was it not turned to the police? Why was it not turned to the authorities to apprehend those, to prevent it? So now, after all this outcry of the public, trying to come up with a justification saying this kind of a story is nonsense.
Do you think that there is a degree of polarization even within the faith in Islam? There are other extremists too within Islam in Ethiopia? Because we discussed that topic a little bit in some details when I had it last time around.
The Muslims in Ethiopia is really very peaceful, to tell you the truth.
No, I know, but we're saying there is...
We had our days, but people come to their sense. We don't have that kind of battling within the sects like at one point we used to have. People are growing mentally, getting maturity. People, their faith is specific to them and with their Lord. There should be nobody in the middle say, oh, let me let me test. What form of belief do you have? Are you Wahhabi? Are you Sufi? Are you Sunni? Are you Shia? It is not the job of the clerk or the police or what. That is between him and the Lord. If you want to keep that to himself, yes. You teach him, yes. You give him evidence, yes. He take it, yes. He refuses, this between him and the Lord. But if he turned it or she turned it to any form of violence among anybody, whether Muslim or non-Muslim, then that will become the issue of enforcing the law, having law and order.
Right. That's interesting because the reason I raised that is it's a two-way traffic, as I alluded to earlier on.
Right.
Do you agree that there are extremists, as you just mentioned, on the Christian side, right? Do you agree that there are extremists within among the Muslim community in Ethiopia?
It is a given fact. Look, in the Christianity, in Uganda, there is the Army of God, Christian terrorists. In U.S., there are Christian terrorists who's radical, KK. In among the Muslims who are claimed the Muslim, you have ISIS. Does Islam has to do with it? Absolutely not. In Islam, there are who claim Al-Shabaab. Does they have anything to do with Islam? Absolutely not. You have Boko Haram, who are saying Western education is sin. Does it have to do anything with Islam? No. So you do have those kind of elements here and there. The bottom line is this. The government has to do their job. The clerk has to do their job. The parent has to do their job. So what is the government job? It's not to regulate the religions per se. In U.S. states, there is no law the government should make vis-a-vis the religion. But there are certain law and order need to be taken place. It's become one of the biggest problems in Ethiopia that I see and deeply research and analyze is the religious issue become a problem.
Why? One of the reasons you just mentioned, you just raised a very important point. How far deep do you need to go into history to be able to correct current issues in this country as far as religious divide is concerned?
You don't have to really sort of deeply navigating through every segment of it. But, in sociology, as I've studied, you have somewhere to start. Any given problem, it doesn't become a problem. It has its own root causes.
But the problem is, where do you start?
So the way you do is you look at the current situation, what are the mindset of the people, what are the pressures are feeding the people, and then how did the people receive and act on that? So why did I say the religions is really become a problem in this country, meaning in Ethiopia? You see, the Muslims are very devoted Muslims. When it comes to religions, they don't joke. When it's case say Allahu Akbar, I've seen it in Morocco to anywhere else, it's just wet, raining, they put their suit, they pray. When it comes to the Christian, passing far away church, they don't pass without greeting their church. Our people, they are very devoted. Now, fueling that belief system, one way or another, in Christianity, there is a serious battle between Orthodox and Protestant, a series of problems that we see. Then you see between some radical Christian also attacking the Muslims, like it happened in Mota. Not all Christians are bad. Even in Amhara, Orthodox Christian, do you know what generous Christian did? he gave a businessman who's a Christian, who's a Amhara, he gave 4 million birr toward the construction of the mosques that are burned in Amhara region. This is the dynamic. This is the quality of a human being that this country produces. All people are not bad. All people are not good. So you should not generalize and paint in one brush, say all Orthodox are bad or all Muslims are bad. Yeah. The bads are always few. We need to contend them and make them not to divide us. So we need to get our conscience back and say, look, whether we like it or not, Muslims are Ethiopian Muslims. This is their land, their ancestors' land. No matter how much those who hate them, you cannot put them on the ship and ship them else. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Those Muslims who are also may hate the Christians and they want to bring a ship and want to exterminate the Christian from this land, it's not going to happen. So the middle ground is we have nothing but to sit down and dialogue and maintain the differences. Look, let me finish one more thing. Look, the quality of our people, when it comes Friday prayer or Eid prayer, all the road has been blocked. The Ethiopian Christian, what do they do? Peacefully, without no government regulating them, peacefully waiting for their brother to finish their prayer. January 7 is the biggest holiday for the Christians. Ethiopian Christmas is coming up. All the roads going to be blocked in Addis Ababa elsewhere. Guess what? Millions and thousands of Muslims will be tolerating waiting of that blockage of their road without government asking them to do so. So this is the kind of good-minded people we already have. But few people who are fueling this problem. Some sit in Israel, and I know. Some sit in diaspora cities, I know. They have their own political agenda and trying to fuel and injecting this disease of hate toward the Christians and toward the Muslims and make us fight. Guess what? Once this religious war, if it starts, God forbid, trust me, we may not have this conversation again. It's going to burn everybody. So there will be no winner.
So the point is there has to be a conversation, right? I mean, in conversations, in the dialogue, there needs to be a give and take.
Yes.
And both sides are coming up with their issues of what happened to them in the years past. And these claims and counterclaims coming from both sides are not making life any easier in this country.
Right.
Do you think there is any conversation happening now among Christians and Muslims?
There is a really genuine and honest dialogue need to take place in this country, particularly among the religious community.
So you think that nothing of that sort has happened before?
It is kind of, sometimes I need to be very critical to my own colleague in the institution here and there. It is cosmetic conversation. It's ceremonial conversation. No. Besides ceremonial coming where there is an event, you have the Muslim representative and Christian come to the table, photo opportunity, and go, no. You got to sit down and have a serious dialogue on issues. Now, what is the issues? Why do you need to have a loudspeaker put on at 4 a.m. when there is nobody, 3 a.m.? What is counterproductive that would do? I live in this country before I migrated to U.S., and we never had that issues before. If it is adhan, is 10 minutes, is over. But now you have literally all churches around the city and around the country when sometimes there is nobody in, put the tape recorder, put it on to deliver a message. What kind of message is it? If you intended somebody who's going to grasp from that noise, who's going to hear it in the first place? So really need to come to, even I've seen and met a lot of Western Americans and others, they're wondering what the hell is going on in this country? Why is so noise? And the people are sleeping time, all this. From both sides, need to sit down and dialogue, one. Second,
each would have to
discuss.
They have issues, right? There have been allegations coming from both sides.
If the church is burned, who burned it? What can we do in defense of protecting it? when it comes to burning the mosques, what kind of rebuilding system? In the case of Jijiga, leadership of the president of the Somali region, Mustafa, what did he do? When the churches and Christian business are looted and burned, he gave from the state money. While their state is in difficult circumstance financially, there was drought. I remember even we collected some funds traveling to deliver in Jijiga at that time. At that difficult situation, they gave 100 million birr to do what? To reconstruct churches, to repay back to the Christians who lost their businesses. In the case of Amhara region, I'm sorry to say it, and it's so irresponsible of falling to the deaf ear, and they did not act.
But we now have news coming in, and that the regional government has taken action. There is a 4 or 5 people who are in charge.
It's not enough.
Of the Muta town. I mean, these are people who are in power. I mean, these are people who are heading the police in Muta town. One of them is in charge of the crime investigation department and there's 2 other or 3 more who are now thrown in prison up until...
Yeah, what we say is this. We appreciate the apprehending of those reckless, irresponsible officials who led to this chaotic situation. This is good. But what we say is not enough. They had a lot to do. Like what? The people lost their place of worship. The government responsibility to mobilize whatever it takes to rebuild.
Don't you have to give them time for the local administration to be able to do what you're just asking now? Because it just happened a few days back.
Well,
I mean,
what kind of time is it needed? When 2 burned in Gondar, they have over a year, no action took place. Are the people are going to wait another year? Absolutely not. The whole Ethiopia is engulfed in demonstration and refusing clearly and loudly and say enough is enough. Enough is enough. So now they are wakening a giant sleep. The people across the country is waking up. Duredawa is demonstrating. Harar is, in the history of Harar, never happened. 100,000 people demonstrated. I was there physically. In Jijiga demonstrated. I was physically there. In Oromia, throughout many cities demonstrated.
But are these things helping? I understand the amount of anger that is being displayed. One of the placards that was hoisted by some of the demonstrators in Harar town says, well, we'll get back the mosques looted by Emperor Menelik. It doesn't make sense.
It does make sense. You know why? Imagine a place of worship of your father has been taken.
But the same counterclaim is going to come from the Christians too.
I counted for you quite a lot. The whole people can dig into the Mikhail Church. Yeah. They can go back They can go to the Kolopi Gabriel. Yeah. The people actually they know all this.
The Orthodox Christians could also come up with similar claims, saying, all these churches were burned down by Ahmed Grani and so on and so forth. This doesn't help the conversation.
You see, Mr. Tafarra, the dialogue needs to have started. We can form joint reconciliation committee. This joint reconciliation committee, a wiser, non-emotional people, sit down and sort out. You have claim, we have claim. Past and present. Okay? What are the issues? You sit down at the table, itemize it, and engage in negotiation. This can be done, this cannot be done. Give it, take, it's something, but blocking it altogether, no conversation, one religion's superiority over the other, the people will relentlessly be on the street claiming those rights to get back. So a wise politician would do what? Listen to the street, listen to the people, listen to the frustration of the people. After all, the government in about 4 or 5 months is going to ask the public to support them, to vote for them. These are the very people you are going to come in to beg them or ask them to vote for you, either party, whether you are Prosperity Party or other parties. But you have to be thinking wisely. Your constituents is crying. You better listen to them.
Thank you so much, Sheikh Salahuddin Wazir, for coming here to share your concerns about what just happened and what possibly could come the years ahead.
I would also appreciate it, Mr. Alam Tafarra, for giving me an opportunity to dialogue and convey my messages to fellow Ethiopians here and abroad through your medium. But in conclusion, I will say this. We need to contain this fire before it is too late. The regional government of Amhara, they need to swiftly act in apprehending all other responsible people. They need to immediately mobilize and reconstructing. In the interim, give them a place where to worship. All those citizens who are paying their taxes, lost their businesses, they need to be re-implemented immediately because they have a family to support and feed. And then assure the government from both sides not to occur this kind of situation anymore because the anger is building up before it's going out of the hand to the point once this religion war is instigated, trust me, no government will be able to stop it.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Dr. Farab.